Oh god, I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm definitely going to need a coffee for this one. Let's get to it. So, for those of you who don't know me, hi, my name's Diago. I'm 26 years old, and as of today, I am 1 year, 6 months, and 12 days clean. Look at that. Like, there's not many things in my life that I'm really accomplished by, except from my little family that I've built, but that is something I'm very proud of. And if you knew me personally, not on my social media or anything now, if you knew me actual personally now, you would have known that I had a massive drug problem for the best part of nearly 10 years. From everything from Valium, I dabbled in everything, but the main ones that I had a problem with, younger age, I had a problem with Valium. But specifically, this video is going to be touching bases on ketamine. Because there's no videos. There is no videos, especially. I've done a little bit of a deep dive just because I knew that when I started this channel up, I wanted to do it specifically for this reason. Because if I had known what was going to happen to me through taking it to the extent that I took it with that drug, I can hand on heart say that I do not think I would have continued the cycle for as long as I did. I'm not going to say that I don't think that I would have took it because I was very defiant and there was no stopping me at that point in my life. But there was nothing. So there's loads of things. If you wanted to find out about heroin, crystal meth, if you wanted to find out about anything at all like that, there is so many videos. So many videos. And there's none touching on this specific drug. And this got me by the balls so deep that I think because I ended up getting out of the end, getting through the end of the tunnel, I guess, or whatever you would call it, I think it would be a waste of an opportunity not to speak about this because I would love to try and make this channel like a safe space for people that have gone through drug problems or anything and they just want to come somewhere that feels safe, they can voice their opinion, ask certain questions, whatever. I want this channel to be based on that. That's the aim that I'm going for with this whole YouTube thing now. So where do we start? This is it's gonna be an interesting one, but so as I said, it started around about when I was about 14. They say the whole drug started there. Ketamine didn't start till about 17, and then it went all the way up until I was 24. That's when I got clean. That was the date that I pretty much got clean. I did have a couple of slip ups, but the date that's on this phone is the last time that I ever took it. I want to talk about the struggles of actually getting clean because I think it's something that's really talked about, but talked quite a lot about, and it's quite a sensitive topic. So forgive me if I start going off a little bit, but when I first started trying to get clean, I was around about the age of 20. That's when I was like, you know what? I'm kind of over this now, but it wasn't until 22 until I was like, I need to stop. I need to stop. Otherwise, I'm going to be pissing in a bag for the rest of my life. And it nearly got to that stage. I was this close, this close. So let me explain this first before I start jumping ahead to the story, because this is what I do all the time. ADHD brain for you. But yeah, so when I got to about 22, I was suffering severely from the amount of care that I was taking. At this point in my life, I was doing 12.5 grams every single day. I wasn't doing that all of the time. For about 3 years straight, every day I was doing about anywhere between 3 to 6 grams. And well, anywhere between 2 to 6 grams. Let's call it that because sometimes I probably took less than what I was thinking. I probably just wasted a lot of it and completely shit faced and not with it. But I did start taking it a lot, and it was every other day, and then it bounced straight into every day, and that was like that for about. It wasn't 6 years. It was about five, I want to say. So the first time I started taking it, it was every weekend or like in an event. But then what I was doing is I was going to so many events just to try and fill that void because I was like, shit, I want to just get shit faced all the time. And when I went eventually to, well, I never went, I got forced to get help because I ended up losing, I lost everything pretty much. I didn't lose my family, I lost all my friends, I lost everything you can imagine, and then I lost my car because of it. That was the biggest wake up call for me because that was really shitty, and I'll do a different video completely on that. I'm not going to touch too much on it, but I did end up losing my car. I lost my license for 2 years. My car, I ended up having to see a drug sport worker. This was through the courts now. So when I went to court, they said that they wanted to put me on tag, but because it was my first proper offence, to do with drugs anyway, that they said that if I agreed to go to sport groups and if I um, went to see a drug sport worker every week, I can't remember the time frame. I think it was 2 years that they wanted me to do it until I had my license back. I'm pretty sure that was the thing. But I ended up loving my drug sport worker so much. I was like, we ended up becoming quite good friends. We did so. And she helped me out a lot. If it wasn't for her, I would never have got into modelling or anything. But there we go. I'm rambling. I'm going off now. So after losing my car, after losing everything, that was my freedom. I lost my freedom. I'm in the valleys. I can't drive anywhere. I'm in the middle of nowhere in the mountains. And that was when I really had time to like reflect on my shit then. And I think that's what the next part that I'm gonna talk about really come into it was friendships. I think with anyone that is coming off drugs or is going through some sort of recovery in any type of way that you were trying to like do anything to change your life or whatever, you're always gonna have friends that are gonna support you, and you're always gonna have friends that don't support you. And the majority of the time, I can't speak for everyone, I can just speak on my own personal opinions, but when I speak to other people that have also gone through this, they do say the same thing. And they say that friendships die completely because I feel like my personal opinion is with this is that people are friends, especially in a drug circle, and as soon as you stop taking that one thing you've got in common, everything that you've got in common goes out the window because the only thing you had in common was drugs. And I think that was probably one of the hardest things for me to actually get my fucking head around was sitting alone in my own thoughts, not having anyone around. That was probably the difficultest part. That is what made me relapse over and over and over again. Like I said, I did this. So I tried to get clean at 20. 22 is when I really, really started trying. So we'll cut out them 2 years, 20 and 21. I wanted to, I weren't really bothered though. I was still going to Boomtown, I was still going to festivals and all of this. I was just like living my best party life is what I thought, and it fucking wasn't at all. And it got to a stage where I ended up having severe cramps and severe bladder problems. Anyone that you speak to that has had a ketamine problem or anything, they wouldn't be able to, not so much the bladder side of things, because you have to continuously do it for years for this to happen, but with the cramps, everyone can say to you that it is probably one of the worst pains you will ever experience in your life. And I can hand on heart say now, I feel for all you girls that have to go. I'm not saying the care cramps is anything like period cramps, but if cramps in general, like in your stomach and all around that area, not a fun experience at all. I phoned the ambulance on myself like 2 or 3 times because I felt like, because the cramps would like kind of move and they were like circling around my chest area, and I thought I was having a heart attack at this one time, and I phoned the ambulance on myself. The ambulance come in and I was just like butt naked. It's really crazy shit now. How fucked do you have to be to get to that stage? Because the only thing that would help, and I don't know if it was mentally or if it was genuinely physically, but it did physically help in the moment. But the only thing that would help in the cramps and stuff was taking more of it. But what you're doing then is digging yourself a deeper hole, because it's probably gonna wear off in like an hour. So I would like the cramps would kind of stop, and then they would stop for about 40 minutes, an hour, boom, and it would come back way harder, way harder, and that's what I mean. So after about 2 years of doing that every single day, trying to get clean, fucking up, being stuck in my own thoughts, hating it, falling back into old cycles with old friends groups and stuff. It was just, it got to a point where I was like, there's something that I need to really change here before I look at just being like, I want to do this, I want to do this, and doing too many things at once. Because I think that's what I was doing, is I was trying to quit drugs, quit smoking, quit drinking, quit everything all at once. Not that I had a drinking problem, I never did, but I was trying to quit everything at once. And my drug support worker said something to me, and she was like, don't run before you can walk. And that's what I ended up doing. So I started taking baby steps. So what I did was I started the gym. I did a whole lifestyle change type of thing, I guess you would call it. And it's ironic because in school, anyone that knew me in school knew I was the most unathletic person in the fucking world. So it's like, and I never did PE. I literally, for the last like 2 years of school, I never had to do PE. I just did art because I was caught bunking all the time. So it's very ironic for me to get hooked on the gym like I did. But what I was doing was I was seeing a urologist at the time, and I'm gonna do a whole video on the whole ketamine bladder thing, because that was so messed up with the whole NHS and everything like that. Not so much the NHS, it was just more of the doctors, like they didn't know what it was. It's a whole story for another day. But yeah, it was, my bladder just got so bad that everything I was trying was not helping, like at all. I was trying everything. I was trying to do pelvic floor muscle stuff. I was like researching all of this stuff online and that. And then one day the doctor just said to me, he was like, have you thought about going to the gym? So I was like, I mean, what can it hurt at this point? I was so scared though. I was so scared to go to the gym. So I think for the first 6 months, I had a gym membership where I never went. I went swimming. So I used like the sports center rather than the gym. And that was probably about 6 months. I did that for about 6 months, yeah. And after that, I was like, I'm gonna just try and do some core muscle exercises in the gym. So I was like thinking, oh, let's just do some squats. We could do some like the leg press and stuff. Like I was researching all of this stuff and I was finding out all these things, and it did really help, like mentally and physically. So, and I think what I'm trying to get at with this video more than anything is what I wished someone had told me when I was first doing this and first in the midst of it, is if you don't stop, you're going to end up having this pain for the rest of your life. And as you can see, I mean, a year and a half clean. Before that, I was a year and I had one mess up one day. That was it. So nearly 2.5 years if you don't count that day, but I always restart it. So I said from that one day though, I would have been 2.5 years clean today. And my bladder is the exact same. The exact same. I had to have an operation in the end to stretch it. So I had so much scar tissue around my bladder. So the how I can describe this is the way that the doctors told me. I am not a professional. So don't really listen to me, but this is how I grasped it from my urologist. So bladder was like this, and obviously intake and intake and intake, and it's coming out one way, and the outside walls of my bladder was getting scarred so much from the crystal that was getting filtered through and stuck to it that it shrunk my bladder down to the size of a 2 pence piece. So I think it was around about, I can't remember. It was like, they said it was roughly around about this big, so about the size of a 2 pence piece. They did tell me the exact millimeters, but I can't remember off the top of my head. And they were like, I was peeing blood. It got really, really bad. I couldn't go out. I was like going out with people in the cars and stuff like that, and I was asking him to pull over every like 5 minutes because I could not hold her in. And it just got into a point where I was like, I don't want to go out. Like, it's just, I can't go anywhere without being uncomfortable. And I'm not saying that it's like that today, but I still have bladder problems. I still have these underlying issues that they're a lot better. I learned how to manage it. The gym was a massive help with that. But I wish someone had said to me, if you have to have this operation, then your bladder would be fucked for life. And I think that's what I needed. And I think that's what I'm trying to get with this video now, is trying to like not guilt trip people into not taking it, but if you know that there's a problem and you're already having these physical withdrawals and physical problems, because now I have a chronic bladder problem that the doctors say will last forever. I will find a way to fix it, but it's just finding the right way. I've changed my eating, I've changed everything. I've done a whole life change, a lifestyle change since even stopping drugs. I've done it again. Like, I've changed my lifestyle over again to try and fit and fix what I've done to my body. And I guess, not comfortable, but I guess I have to come to some sort of realization or reality check, I guess, that it might not work. It's, everyone's body's different, so only time will tell with that. But I think the most interesting part of this story is the fact that when I was getting clean, it's the whole reason I was like taking drugs. The little backstory of this was the fact that I was so insecure about my own sexuality. I didn't come out until I was like 19, 20. So I come out to my friends at 19, come out to my family. Well, I was kind of outed with my family, but that was at 20. So I didn't come out till a late age compared to some people. Like my partner, he came out at like 13, 14. So it's a very big gap between that. And now I've had time to sit and reflect, and I've seen psychologists and support workers and all this, and been to support groups and everything, and got an idea of what was going on. I know that the reason what I was doing was I was in denial about my own sexuality, and I was using drugs to escape that. But when I got comfortable with it, and then I was like, what, I don't need drugs. And then when I was like, I need to like sort my shit out, it was, and I'm not like a religious person or anything, but it was almost like God had literally waited for the perfect time, made a little fucking character, and planted him down here, and that is my partner. If that, like, that sounds crazy, but that's the way that I feel about it, because he has such like similar characteristics to me. Like, we say the same things, we finish each other's sentences sometimes. It is fucking crazy. It's like, to the point where it's like kind of scary actually. So I'm like, but he also was like going through some shit when we first met. So when we first met, I was actively still in it, but coming towards the end of my addiction, and he was very much in it as well. Very different drugs. A video for another day, this is, but very different drugs. But when we met, we were both still on, but we were both, I think, accepting the fact that we weren't going to do it forever type of thing. And yeah, when we met, everyone said to us, they were like, no, you shouldn't do this. This is going to be a disaster. This is a disaster wouldn't happen. All of this, yada, yada, yada. And, you know, I just took a chance with that one because I was like, you know, there's so many things going right now in my life. And I made so many positive changes. I knew I was in like the right mindset to make a decision like that. So I jumped, I took a risk, a very big one, and it paid off. And I think finding Onyx really helped me get through my recovery. Help me along with it. It made it a bit more steadier, I guess we'll say anyway, because before him, I couldn't get past 7 days for months. That's where I was at. I'd get 7 days and I'd be like, oh, I made it to a week. I'll treat myself now. I'll get a bag and all this. And then after a few months more, I managed to get it to about 15 days or 14 days. And then I think the longest that I did in them 2 years, I was really, really trying. So from the age of 22 to 24, them 2 years I was really, really trying. I think the longest that I did in them 2 years was 30 days. I did a whole month. And after that month, I went straight to my drug dealer's house. I was like, oh my God, I managed to do a whole month without it. I'm so happy, all of this, yada, yada, yada. And then I just scored. And I was just like, you know, and that's what I think really made me realize that I'm not going to like blame friends or anything, but sometimes it's the whole social... The cat was the cat was stuck, so Onyx got him out. He saved him. What's he doing?
Just emptying the meat on the wallet and chicken here. Are you having it with coffee as well?
Yeah, because I feel like I need to drink for this. I need my caffeine, and for those of you that come in for me saying caffeine's not good for you either, bitch, one step at a time. I am not giving up the caffeine. I only have 1 cup a day though, because I did find out the caffeine is a diuretic, which I didn't know until this one told me, and he was like, that's what could be making your bladder flare up loads, and I was like, I don't think coffee's a diuretic, and I was like, I just thought coffee made you shit. I just thought it gives you...
It does both.
I know it does both, but I didn't know that. And so I was drinking like 12 cups of coffee a day. I think that's because I have ADHD and it just like soothes a part of my brain. It just makes me all like, oh, nice.
The best. The best way to do it anyway.
Yes.
Alright, I'm going to stop being a gay boy and leave you alone.
Thank you. Right, I forgot where I was at now. But yeah, no, I think finding him really like helped smooth along the process of, because obviously I was going to get there at one point anyway, but I think, it's so weird, I'm not religious or anything like that at all, but I genuinely do feel like that I have some sort of like, I don't know, I feel like everyone's got people, guardian angels or whatever, looking over them. And it's almost like they realized, they were like, this is the perfect time. Let's send him down now. And yeah, that's him. But yeah, it just really made things smoother. That's the one thing that I can say. And I know that some people ain't fortunate to have that. And trust me, I know I'm not the type of person to just jump in and out of relationships. He's my first relationship. My first proper relationship. I dated someone before, one person, and for like a month, different story, very long story actually, but yeah, so I know that it's not as easy as people to find that. It's almost like a safety blanket, CNS, like when you have them cravings, and because he was also going through that, but with like polar opposite drugs, when he would crave that one drug, I could kind of be like his support blanket for that, because I never craved it. I didn't like it. It wasn't my thing. And then when I was craving it, vice versa. But it was never to the point where we were like, you have to be clean, otherwise I'm not being with you. For the first like 3 months of our relationship, I think both of us were completely fucking off on that all the time. Like, we were not with it, but we weren't living with each other then. So I think it got to about. Sorry, I'm playing with my ring then. It got to about 3 months, and I think that's when we moved in, and it just naturally comes. So he was still hanging around people he was still hanging around. I was still hanging around the people that I was still hanging around. It was never one of them things like forced type of thing. It was never you have to do this, or it was just such smooth, easy rolling, and then we just kind of turned into hermits together. Then really, and we just kind of just stay on it, keep ourselves to ourselves now. And I think that's because we've seen a lot of ugly things, like, and how things can get so ugly quickly anyway. But I love the little family we got. We got 2 little cats, a not so little German Shepherd actually. But yeah, we've built. I'm very proud of this. I'm like, there's not many things that I'm like hand on heart can be like, I'm proud of this. I'm really really proud of this. But that's one of them, is my sobriety, and that's why I think that moving forward this channel is going to be based mostly on this. I will still do little bits and bobs, but I want to make a community. I want to make a safe space for people that have the same type of problems with us, even if it's not people that have the same problems, even if it's just mothers or fathers or like friends that are going watching someone else go through something and they want to somehow get some sort of answers or whatever it is. I would like this to be a safe space for people to come, learn, and also just be able to be themselves. That's pretty much all that I want. Even if it's just one person. If it's one person that I can help by doing this, that's all that matters. And even if it's no one that watches or even cares or whatever, I care. And I'm proud of myself, and I'm proud of my partner, and I'm proud of where we come from to where we are. We come from nothing. We were on the verge of death. We managed to do a whole 180, completely change our lifestyles for the better. Surround ourselves now with only good, positive people, because I think that's the main thing. I think that's where people get, like myself, where I would always find myself relapsing and relapsing and relapsing, was because I felt like I had to be around the people that I was always around. Because people ain't comfortable with being alone. They ain't comfortable with sitting on your own in your own head. It's a scary ass place, like, you know? The brain is a completely tricky thing. Like, it's not just you can be like, snap, done. Like, it's not one of them things. And I think that for people that look at drug addicts and alcoholics and stuff and they're like, you're selfish, like, there is a part of me that can understand why people would think that, but there's a way bigger picture to why someone is doing the things that they're doing, and it usually is deeper in themselves. It's more the fact that they're embarrassed of themselves, or there's something that's happened in their past and stuff. So before casting judgment on anyone that's struggling, because I lost countless of friends just through that. Like, I lost some good ass friends as well for that, because they didn't want to be surrounded by someone that was going through a drug problem, and I can completely 100% respect that now. Whilst I was going through that, I was like, you were evil, like, why would you do this, why have you left me, all of this. But now, obviously, now I'm a year and a half clean, I look at things in a completely different way to what I did before, and like, there's a lot of making up that I have to do on my part, and I did do it. Like, family wise, and he lost my whole family. Like, luckily, I had a very, very strong family connect that was great, absolutely amazing. They didn't know what to do, but as the whole, it was like they did as much as they could, and it was it's really good to hear that. Not to hear. It's like it's sad to hear other people's stories when it comes to families and then mine, because I feel like I owed my family a massive apology because they see me through the worst with me, and it was just not fair on them. And that's the one thing that I really do regret, is putting them through everything. I was living under their roof, so they seen everything. Like, I was a young kid in my 20s. They knew what I was doing pretty much, but when it got to a serious point, then it was like I put them through fucking hell. Like, I would get my mom to come up into my bedroom when I was having cat cramps so bad to massage, like, not deep heat, but it was like ibuprofen gel to try and like massage the cramps out. It didn't fucking work, but that's just like some of the things. Some of it is like really embarrassing. It's like not, but like I think this is the thing. This is the thing that nobody talks about, is that ugly truth of things. And I think the more that people do, and I know people do with alcohol, not so much with drugs. There is a few, but like the nitty gritty part of things, like the actual struggles of getting clean. And I can do like I'm gonna do a couple more videos. The next one I think I'm gonna touch bases on is gonna be ketamine bladder. That's the one that I wanted to do before this one, but it didn't make sense to do that. I jumped in straight into it. I feel like people needed to know a little bit of the story before I make that video, and I'm gonna try and keep to an order with things. But I don't know if the ketamine bladder is gonna be next. I'm gonna just think of what I'm gonna do as I'm going along. But ketamine bladder is coming up. That one, I've written that down. That one's gonna be done. It's just it's a long one with that one because I'm not a doctor, and I'm not any sort of medical professional at all, but I can put my point of view on it, and I think that's one thing I want to make very clear. I am not a professional. What I say, some people are going to agree with, some people are going to disagree with. It's just more the fact that what worked for me personally, and I think that's pretty much all I want to really give. It's just like I want to give my advice to you. I want to try and grow and learn myself as well as much as this, because one thing I have learned from being a kid is when I go through struggles or any sort of like trauma, and I think the whole drug addiction part of things is trauma, and I think this is like a way for me to just release it, is speak about it, talk about it, share my opinions with it. It can help some people. Some people can be like, "What the fuck?" Some people can be like, "That's nothing." Like, you know what I mean? It can. It's always good to talk. And I think the one thing I said it a couple of times in this video, the one thing that helped me probably the most, apart from seeing my support worker, was going to a support group. Because when you go to a support group, I think the thing that helps with that is you're like, I was in such a dark place for years. I was like, oh, my life's the worst, all of this, like I can't, like, you know, like I have it the worst and stuff. And then when I went to that support group, I realized very quickly that people out there have it a lot worse. 100% have it a lot worse. And I think, and then some people have it a lot better. You know, it's just like one of them things though that I think helped me really understand the the growth of it, I guess. I don't really know how to put it into words what I'm trying to explain. It was just more of the understanding it. That's what helped me understand that I was going through some shit, and having a group of people that were going through their own shit as well, sitting around in a circle talking about it, does really help. And I think this is what I'm gonna try and aim for with this group. So, I think that's it. I think for this video, I've touched on pretty much all that I wanted to touch on. I would love to know your guys' opinion. I've just been rambling and rambling and rambling. But yeah, I would love to like start trying to make these videos into as much advice as I can. So if any of you have any questions whatsoever, or anything that you want me to make a video on, or anything at all, just pop it down in the comment section. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe and press that little bell button so then when these videos come up, you can actually watch them. Pop down a little comment in the section being like where you're from and what you would like to talk about, and if you liked the video. But yeah, I think that's it, guys. So thank you for listening to me rambling on. A quick one as well, because I ramble so much. I completely forgot about it, even saying this in the video because I was so focused on ketamine. This channel is not just going to be based on just drugs and stuff. It's not going to be based on that at all. Well, it is, but it's not going to be purely based on that. Another reason why I wanted to be like a safe community, a safe space for people to come to and stuff, is I want to talk as well about mental health. I want to touch on basis with men's mental health. As someone that dealt with depression from the age of 12 to when I got diagnosed with ADHD, which was 23, I believe, 22 or 23, I think it was. So yeah, it's going to be touching bases on mental health as well. So it's not just going to be talking about drugs. There's going to be some funny stories, some crazy stories as well. Big love. Remember, this is a safe space for us to come. Anyone that wants to drop me a message, you can find my socials in the little bio box thing underneath. And yeah, just drop me a message. I try to get back to everyone as much as I can. And if I do see it, I will obviously give as much help as I possibly can. But remember, I'm only one person. What works for me isn't going to work for everyone else. But if you need any advice whatsoever, please do not hesitate to jump into either my personal page or my Facebook page, my second page that I have as well. I have I think my Instagram's linked as well, so but I use Facebook more than anything, so if you're gonna reach out, Instagram or Facebook, doesn't really matter. But peace and love, guys.